Hey guys, this is IX with RolloutReviews doing another Let's Build. This is the final set of the 2016 Winter Wave, our big bad for this year, Umarak the Hunter. Now, before I get into this Let's Build, the last set that I built was the Kopaka and Melum Unity set, and I do want to make some addendums to that. So I did actually apply the stickers here, and that's what that looks like. And as you can see, this was my issue. There's those dimples, and the stickers go over top. Now, the stickers themselves, actually, it might just be me being crazy, but they actually kind of feel a little bit thicker than last year's stickers, so that's kind of a good sign. They also stuck really, really well because most of this is a flat surface, but my problem is that they go over that dip in the plastic, and I'm afraid that dust will get inside there and cause the rest of the sticker to peel up. I'd thought about maybe getting like a hole puncher or something, and getting, you know, another set of these stickers and punching a hole right where that dimple would be, or at least a partial like crescent there, and see if that works. I don't know. That's just me being a crazy perfectionist who is never happy with anything. But as far as the stickers look, I really like the way they match the chest, and it really actually does look pretty good. I still don't think they're necessary, but this green color, along with kind of the green color that the mix between the gold and the blue creates in the middle, actually matches pretty well, and united, Kopaka's color scheme is really actually pretty good. I also realized that I talked about the impracticality of Melum attaching to Kopaka in that Let's Build, and I also kind of had the realization after the fact that the creatures attaching to the Toa boost their elemental powers greatly, so obviously that in and of itself is practical. But I just thought I would make that addendum now that I applied the stickers. So, moving swiftly on, here is Umarak the Hunter, and interestingly enough, this set actually comes with the Mask of Control, the second legendary mask in this rebooted series. It's interesting because we didn't get the first series, the first season, the first year, rather, we didn't get the special mask for that year until the second wave, and here in the first wave of this year, we're getting the Mask of Control, so who knows what'll show up in the second half, in the summer wave. But yeah, that's the mascot for this year, it looks like, and yep, it shows up in this set of all places, which is kind of cool. Umarak's comic is a little bit different than the rest. He's running from the Toa, I guess, into this temple, finds the Mask of Control, puts it on, and gets all of this power, of course. And Umarak can also combine with all of the creatures. It shows him combining with Uxar here, which, if that ever happens in the story, that would be rather fitting, wouldn't it? Because it's just like Liwa to have his creature stolen. He gets his mask stolen first, he gets, you know, controlled by Borok. Why not steal his creature too? Anyway, we should get into this. Although, I'm now realizing that there's one more thing to show, and that is all of the Toa have their Nuva symbols, and Umarak looks like he has his own symbol here, which is, you know, a completely new thing. But it's interesting that he has one, and he's not a Toa, seemingly. So I wonder what that's about. Mysteries are afoot. So let's open this guy up. Yeah, he's a very cool-looking villain. He's seemingly based on English folklore. Herne the Hunter, who is like this mystical forest being with horns of an elk, or in some depictions he kind of like wears the head of an elk as like a headdress, and he has, you know, he wields a massive bow, and you know, he's a little bit animalistic, and he also is usually depicted with like black and green, with like a black and green cloak. So yeah, this guy is very much based on that folklore there. Anyway, let me bring the backdrop down here. Bring the camera down. And we will start to unbag all of the pieces. So he comes with one of the Skull Villain hook blades. He also, as you can see, has one of the Skull Villain torso pieces here. So whether he's undead or not, I guess we'll find out. Although I suppose Onua featured those parts as well, and he's certainly not a skeleton man, so who knows how that's gonna go. But, let's see, how many pieces does this set have? 172. That certainly seems like a lot. I'm not sure if any other set has had more, but this is a $20 set, and going off of pictures that I've seen, he is the largest figure we've ever gotten so far in the 2015 line, of course. We've ever gotten in the past 2 years. But yeah, he's massive. He's got a lot of Technic parts. It's nice to have a villain that is finally taller than Tahu. You know, that's nice. But yeah, seems to me like he is pretty much the biggest figure we've gotten. And of course, you know, Mask Maker versus Skull Grinder and the Kopaka and Melum Unity set are bigger sets, but they're multiple figures. I'm just talking about him being the biggest figure. Anyway, first things first, here is the Mask of Control. Makuda's mask before he created and abused the Mask of Ultimate Power here. I think there was a line of text in a LEGO magazine or online or something like that where it says that this mask allows its wearer to, you know, control the minds of others, which makes sense. It also does look, you know, a little bit different than the mask we saw in the Legend video back in late 2014, so maybe they altered the design a little bit. Here it is with the Mask of Creation, and they're very similarly styled with the very intricate and detailed runes, and kind of the shape of them as well has a more ancient and mystical style to them. This mask is certainly a little bit smaller, not having the very regal crowned look there, but still equally impressive. This is a very, very cool mask, and I can't wait, you know, to have the Mask of Ultimate Power, to have all three promised at the very start of the 2015 series. All right, so let's get into things here. Starts off fairly similar to the Toa because he also has that the waist swiveling action here. Lot of tiny pieces going on with this set, so that's kind of exciting. Maybe we'll get kind of an intricate build similar to the General Grievous Ultra build I liked putting together so much. I am also realizing that I was going to do a combination with one of the creatures, specifically Uxar, since that is what is pictured on the back of the box. But I forgot to bring Liwa in here before I started filming, so unfortunately I won't be doing that. I suppose I could take Melum off of Kopaka and show that, but in the review for this guy I plan on showing him donned with all 6 of the creatures, so don't worry about that. You'll see that showcased eventually. What do I need? What do I need? I need this green piece here. So yeah, you know, stay tuned for that if you'd, you know, like to see that. Unfortunately, this is the last review of the wave I'll be doing, because I like doing the Let's Builds in the order of the reviews, and I kind of like keeping, I guess, the most important set for last, and I feel like this is maybe a little bit more important than any one of the single Toa, just because it comes with the Mask of Control, which is, you know, a very plot pivotal element there, a relic that is very important to the story, you could say. Here is one of the gunmetal Unity pieces, so that goes on here just like that. But so yeah, I won't be getting to the review very soon. You know, soon enough. I'll get there eventually, but I will sort of be taking my time. What? Okay. So this goes on here like that. This is certainly not overlapping in the picture. This is right? Like that goes on there. Okay, this is confusing. That does go there. This does go, or maybe, oh, okay. I didn't realize there were smaller shells. I'm sorry about that. All right, we solved it. Only took me a little while, but fixed it eventually. I can't really justify my mistake too well, but I'll try my best. Okay, now we need Hordika next here. And that goes through this piece here like that. And then this attaches on here. Yeah, from what I've seen, this guy's arms attach fairly low, and then his shoulder pads made up of the trap pieces here kind of make up for it. So we'll see how that looks in person. But yeah. One thing I sort of wanted to talk about, and it has really nothing to do with Umarak himself. Oh, here's his mask. I'll actually take a look at that later once I'm ready to put it on. Anyway, one thing I sort of did want to talk about is after I finished building Kopaka and Melum, I had the chance to kind of put them all together and look at all 6 Toa, and I kind of want to talk about that for a bit. They look really, really good together, and that's something I really like about this, despite some of their individual shortcomings. They look great side by side, and again, maybe that's part of it. Like, the Toa without the creatures end up looking a little bit incomplete, and that's, I feel, part of the draw of this wave, is that you get the creatures to complete the Toa. They're meant to maybe look a little incomplete without a creature. That's kind of the point. Maybe that's scumbag marketing, but that's how it is. And but together, they just look like a fantastic group, you know? And one thing I really like about this wave of BIONICLE is that it's really pushing the limits of, like, the definition of a Toa. Because I felt in the original series, because they made Toa like a species after 2004, because, like, there were, like, hundreds of Toa at one point in the history of the BIONICLE lore, they became a little less special when they did the flashback to Metro Nui. But even before then, it seemed to me that all of the Toa were kind of... they were very similar. They had kind of the same basic body, the same underlying body, the same, you know, skeletal structure. And then they just kind of had tools and potentially different armor put on over top. But down below, while they had different elements and different color schemes and things, not until about 2007 did they begin to start. That's a good. Anyway, they started to sort of become their own a little bit. I mean, all of the Toamata, very similar, except for Pohatu, but the majority of them, very similar. All of the Toametru are very similar as well, and the Anika. And, I think it was confirmed at one point that even though the Anika are much taller than any, previous Toa, that in the canon of the series, all Toa are like the same height. So, the sets aren't quite accurate to the story in that way. I put this on wrong. This is actually supposed to go on this leg. Interesting that this Borak eye is on the inside, but oh well. Now I believe I'm building the second leg here, which is pretty much the same as the other one. But, yeah, they were all, they're the same species, so it makes sense that they're all very similar. But not until, like, 2007, where all of the Mari kind of had different apparatuses and different postures and things. Even then, though, they still felt very similar to one another. And then in 2008, with the Mystica, the Fantoka, when they got the adaptive armor, then they, had some additions that were, unique across all Toa. There was some cool things going on there, but still, I felt that they had a similarity to them. Each and every one. And while the new Toa are very clearly all Toa, and they have similarities that do unify them, looking at how they're built, looking at how they stack up next to each other, they're much, much more varied. On top of that, with this new 2016 wave, I really think that Toa have kind of transcended all expectations made by the original series. Like, just think about, like, for example, what Uniter Tahu is combined with Akir. He's a Toa with these tribal markings and crystals jutting out of his armor and, like, animalistic wings and like this animal headdress and these fire swords that blend with the rest of his body. Like, he just seems kind of on a different power level than any Toa we saw in G1, and the fact that so far, as far as we know in this new series, it's returning back to there only being 6 Toa like there were in the early years. It really kind of makes the Toa seem like more than just part of a species, more than just part of an organization or a being of a number of like hundreds that have these powers that are relatively similar. Like across all Toa of Fire, there are, Toa of Fire that hone their powers a little more than others, but generally all Toa of Fire have a similar set of skills, I think I actually put this piece wrong on the other leg, and I will fix that. But the fact that there is only 6 Toa in this new series, so far at least, they're just more unique and impressive in a way. They seem a little bit more like... I forgot to add some friction extenders in the hips here. They seem a little bit more like unique demigods, almost, especially with, the way their armor and their power set is displayed, especially combined with the creatures. They're just something more than heroes. They're these, mystical, ancient, powerful beings that, are like legendary, and that really shows through, and I really, really like that. Okay, I am going to move the camera up now. Let me move the backdrop up here. As I understand, this guy's pretty tall, so I might need all the room I can get here. But yeah, I just like what Toa are in this new series. They kind of brought back the mysticism in a way, because by the time that the Toa started to actually become more and more varied with the of course the Toa Mari and the Mystica and Fentoka, the series started to kind of get overtaken by its like technological side, and that mysticism started to sort of fade away as it kind of embraced the fact that they exist inside a giant robot, and that's a very sci-fi futuristic thing. So obviously as they get closer to the core of that robot, things get a little bit more futuristic, and I get that, but it kind of took away from like the feel, and like I said, as we learned that there are more and more Toa that exist in the universe, they became a little bit less special. And they tried to bring the speciality of the Toa Mata back at least a little bit by making them, they were never Matoran, and kind of making them, the SWAT team of 6 special heroes created by Artaka, things like that. But they lost a little bit of their luster, I guess. A little bit of their speciality. And I guess, when I mentioned earlier that all the Toa kind of had a similar power sets, I guess the Anika were a little bit special in the way that they were transformed by the Red Star, and they kind of had like electricity powers along with all of their other elemental powers. So that was kind of cool, a little bit different. But then once the Mask of Life turned them into the Mari, they kind of lost a bit of that, which is a little unfortunate. But oh well. Oop. No, I am realizing that I'm down here when I should be up here. Okay, so here I am. So he's got this thing. He's got like an extra little sword, and he's also got one of the same things that Kopaka and Onua have. Little ammo racks here on his belt, I guess, here, which is very cool. He's this hunter. He's prepared to stalk through the forest and whatnot, or through ruins, temple ruins, or mazes, or whatever they're in 2016. And he's prepared for any of that, being the hunter that he is. And I like that they're being influenced a little bit more by folklore and things. Like I said, this guy being based off of Hearn the Hunter is very, very cool. So this is his little thing he's got going here. Am I missing something? Doesn't look like it. I think that's how things are supposed to go. So this attaches to the back of his leg. And yeah, he's got a little extra sword on his side, as well as some extra ammo. It does kind of dangle there, but that is just very cool. And it's nice that he does have this extra sword, very similar to Skull Grinder, but he has a place to store it officially. And I like that. Okay, moving on. I did like the complexity in his legs there, and while it does look a little bit weird here and the gappiness in there, I do like that there is this, bit of articulation here supported by these. It almost seems inspired by that Maskmaker versus Skull Grinder and Skull Scorpio combination that they had last year that I never built, but I admired from afar, and that looked pretty cool. And this seems inspired by that in some way, at least in the legs, I feel like. Maybe not directly, but there's a bit of that going on, I feel. Okay, so here are the arms. Fairly simple so far, it looks like. I really am liking this guy's kind of his posture and his proportions with the animalistic legs there. Looks very cool. Now we bring in these shells here that I've been eyeing for a little while. They're on his arms. And he also has these kind of burgundy spikes on his armor here as well. So we'll put those on. I kind of like to think, like, since this guy can combine with the creatures, you know, I mentioned in one of the early creature Let's Builds, Revenge of the Skull Spiders talks about the creatures a little bit, and it talks about how they're these ancient beings that predate even the mask makers, and I get the sense that this guy here is also a much more ancient villain than even Makuta. You know, like, the Skull Warriors and the Skull Army are clearly like minions of Makuta. If not created by him, then they were, you know, directly following his order. But here are the trap pieces used as his shoulder pads here, which is kind of a cool thing there. But this guy, and I mean, he may end up being, you know, just another follower of Makuta. But like I said, just the fact that he has the ability to combine with these incredibly ancient creatures gives me the sense that he's something of legend himself, you know, and he's maybe a little bit more archaic, a little bit more mystical and legendary as well himself. He's a more ancient enemy that even predates Makuta, and that would be interesting. I'm not sure if it's going to be true. They could just, you know, go the easy route and make him a follower of Makuta, just like the others. But that's something that I'd like to see. This guy kind of being his own faction, who is trying to you know, get the creatures. Maybe he's being manipulated by Makuta, but I'd prefer if he wasn't, honestly. Yeah. So he has that ability, and Akimu, you know, of course, allows the Toa that ability. I can only assume, giving them the upgrades to combine with the creatures. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I just like the mysticism. The mysticism is back a little bit, and I think that also shows through this guy specifically. Here is his chest piece, which has some printed details, just like the original 2015 Toa, and of course the Skull Villains, most of them at least. He's got kind of a mouth on his chest there. I don't know what's up with that, but maybe it's just like the teeth of something that he's wearing as a necklace or something like that. He also has this like tree bark armor, which is also so cool. The metal armor up here with some gashes up top there. Looks like one little green thing, as well as just a silver thing. That's how it is on the box, right? No. What? On the box and in the instructions, both of these are green. And that's just silver there. Is that a misprint? That might be a misprint. I don't know. Tell me if that's a misprint. Tell me if your Umarak has that. Because that is interesting. Probably going to need to like bricklink this part or something later down the line. But yeah, that is weird. I wonder if this is worth anything. Because I know some misprinted masks and prototype masks and things like that are worth something, you know. But I wonder I wonder if something printed wrongly is worth anything. If anybody wants to to trade me something for that, if they want, you know, a misprinted chess piece or whatever, feel free to make an offer, I guess. Because I do kind of want to get that replaced with the one that isn't faulty, if that in fact is faulty. Who knows? I'll look at a couple reviews or something, or check with some friends and see if that's the case. But anyway, here is the new iStock piece in orange here. All of the Toa had blue iStocks in, you know, the new style of iStock. And this is the only guy with orange, so that's a thing. Actually, I don't know why I did that, because he has horns, so I need to put this through there instead. Then these pieces go on. I don't think these are new. They might be new in this color. These are kind of cool pieces, I think. But they're used for his his elk horns he has here. Yep, there you go. And then they come forward like this. Just a very cool design. You know, instead of like the bull horns, or like almost demonic horns that Skull Grinder and Skull Basher had. This guy has he's just massive elk horns, which is very cool. Another thing worth noting, as I mentioned, Basher and Skull Grinder. Also talking about Revenge of the Skull Spiders, they actually show up in that book and are confirmed not to be dead. Akimu says, oh, they're powerless without their masks, and he took their masks away. But yeah, Skull Grinder and Skull Basher apparently still live, at least those two, which is kind of cool. I wonder if we'll see them at any point in the future. They kind of put them in a cell in the Forge of Creation or whatever, so they can't cause any trouble, and they're kind of unconscious without their masks, as I said. But I wonder if they're gonna continue to show up and cause any trouble in the future. That would be interesting. But anyway, here is Umarak's horns, which are just cool and very impressive. Maybe that'll be a problem, because, you know, they can pop off his mask more easily, but you can actually squeeze these together, like on Basher, to add a bit more friction, so that's good. Anyway, his head attaches there, and yeah, I need to go up a little bit higher, believe it or not, because with his horns, this guy is massive. Okay. Now we get to build his bow weapon here, kind of similar to Vizuna's air flame bow, and the you know, Skull Warrior's bow, but still cool nonetheless. The actual bow part of the weapon is kind of interesting, and of course I'll show that off when we get there. So that goes on like that, and then there's this piece in black, which is cool. You know, Nua's was in black as well, but I think it's new for this wave, this piece being in black. Although maybe like a Star Wars set had it in this color, I don't remember. Certainly, you know, it's a new color in this wave for Bionicle, because before then we'd only got it in gray and trans blue. All right, now this piece goes on and through here like that. This attaches here. This attaches here. Then that goes there. This goes here. This goes there, and this goes there. So yeah, very similar to Skull Warrior, but things change slightly up top here, because while it does have these pieces, you instead attach the next section forward like this, And then the bow kind of works like that. So, oh, sorry about that. Oh, there's a little bit of space there. Is that how things are supposed to be? No, it is not. Kind of attached that wrongly. There we go. Fix the problem. We're good to go. But anyway, the bow is kind of shaped interestingly. Kind of goes forward and then back, which is sort of cool. And then all of the other ammo here just attaches like so. Do you get any extra? You get one extra, aside from the ones on his belt and the one in his bow. And I believe that there is a way to actually kind of attach this to his back. Like if you pull off the shoulder pads, I think it gives you a way. And if he's wielding his sword, there also might be a way to let him plug it onto the side of his leg, although that might be a little unwieldy. So I don't know. Until I figure something out, I'm just going to have him hold it normally. Hold it in his hands where it should go. So that goes there. This goes in this hand. And this whole situation goes in this hand. All right. And there are several extra pieces. It actually has me put these on his feet, which I was wondering about that. But there is one other feature to this guy, and I'll show that off here in a second. So yeah, there's his little toes. And here is his mask. I kind of waited to show his mask off here. It is actually asymmetrical towards the bottom of things. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of got like a weird snag tooth here on one side, and his jaw is kind of messed up, it seems. Like he's been through stuff. He's got like scarring and things. And I mean, he had like the bark look on his armor here, so like the same kind of shapes sort of appear up here. I wonder if he's like part of the woods or something, like he's a spirit of the woods themselves or something. I don't know. Again, we know basically nothing about this character so far, so I'm just speculating. But it is kind of blended, and the green and the black looks really, really cool together. So that's awesome. Put that on, and there you go. There he is. A very impressive looking guy here. But there is one more thing, as I mentioned, and it is in the instructions here. So that's a thing. As you can see in the instructions, it shows him here, but then it shows a bunch of pieces just sitting on the ground. And basically, you take these extra things here, put those on the bottom there, then take these and put those there. Also, I forgot to add little spikes that are supposed to go on his feet, so I apologize for that as well. I just noticed those in the extra pieces, wondered if they went anywhere, looked at the picture, and found that out. So, yeah, those go on there like that. But anyway, then you also have this eye piece here. So what the instructions say you can do is pull off his shoulders, pull off his toes, and then pull off the little thing he's got there for some reason, even though you're going to put it like right back on. And then use all of those pieces to form a shadow trap. And that, I guess, is like the 6th shadow trap of the bunch, because Kopaka and Melum didn't come with one. Kind of a lame way of doing things, and I wish they integrated it a little bit more, but let's see. So that comes off there, And that comes off there. So you got this going on, and then these kind of connect together like this. Oh, you actually do need to pull this off because you need to combine these first and then lock them together with this section. So now I understand why it had you do that. And then you put the eye on here, which the eye could probably store on one of his shoulder pads if you wanted it to as well. And then pull off his toesies here. So let me just get those. Yeah, I know it's off camera, but I'll pan down and show this guy complete here in a second once I have this trap complete. But then you put these on as legs. And there you go. There you have an extra trap. And even this trap doesn't have a blue eye. So the fire one is still singled out in that respect. All of them have a red eye except for the fire one, which has a blue eye. But anyway, there you have an extra little shadow trap. But it just kind of neuters Umarak a little bit. Like, he doesn't have the shoulder pads anymore. He doesn't have, like, the toes anymore. It's kind of a cool concept, like the shadow trap being part of him, and like he shoots it off. It reminds me of like Fracture from the 2015 Transformers Robots in Disguise series, where he has like these shoulder pauldron things that he shoots off and they become mini-cons. Kind of reminds me of that, where like he can shoot his shoulder pads off and turn it into a last-ditch effort trap to secure one of the creatures. And it would have been cool if they made that process a little more smooth, but with all the parts forming and extra pieces it requires and how kind of lame Umarak ends up looking after the fact, it is disappointing. But here are all the extra pieces once everything is said and done. So yeah, just give you one more look at those. Yeah, there those are. And last but not least, let's actually take a look at Umarak with the Mask of Control on. So he can wear it, even though he has the horns. He looks pretty cool. I think I prefer him with this mask. I definitely think Skullgrinder looks better with the Mask of Creation than this guy looks with the Mask of Control, but I suppose it works. Seeing him without his shoulders is really kind of a bummer. I was thinking like maybe they could have just kept these on here, so that, you know, at least you don't have to pull his toes off, like if they gave you extras of these pieces. But yeah, I don't know. It is super weird and not very well implemented, but let me give him his shoulder pads just so that he's in all his glory here, as well as the little chain bit too. And give him his toes here before I pan down and show you the rest of his lower body. There you go. So here he is up top, and then panning down there, you can see his legs. And then again, these just extra pieces you have. I don't know if you can probably find somewhere to put them on this guy, but as is, it's kind of disappointing that they didn't implement them themselves. Because again, showing you the instruction booklet. Yeah, it just kind of has you set those pieces off to the side until you want to build the trap. Oh well. Since I'm not really showing it off here, because I forgot to bring Liwa into the equation, into this room here, there he is, combined with Uxar there, and it shows that he can combine with all 6 of the creatures, and I plan on showing that off in his review. I also have thought about maybe doing an extra video after I'd reviewed all of the sets in this wave, where I show all 6 Toa with all 6 of the creatures, just a video dedicated to all the different combinations you can do. I'm not sure about that. It's something I'd thought about doing, so I don't know. We'll see. But until we figure things out, until the reviews start, that is about it. So, this is IX Roll at IX, signing off.